Love is Blind Season 7 is getting spicy. This close to the weddings, some couples are just starting to have issues, and others' issues have become too much for them to bear. Hey y'all, it's Nae. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. This video will contain spoilers for Love is Blind Season 7, episodes 10 and 11. So if you haven't seen them yet and you do not want spoilers, save this video and come back after you do. You are about to hear my thoughts on episodes 10 and 11, but of course I want to hear yours, so feel free to drop your thoughts below if you do want to participate in the conversation, and give this video a like before you go, so I know you enjoyed it. If you want to keep this conversation going after this video, feel free to head on over to my Discord server. It's a place for us to chit chat outside of YouTube, and it's free. So why not? The link is in the description box. And I just tell y'all, I audibly yelled out, "Damn!" when Tim told Alex that he never wanted to see her again. My cat was sitting on the bed and he got startled. That's how loud I yelled out, "Damn!" Like, I was like genuinely shocked that he said. I replayed it multiple times. I was like, I gotta hear him say that again. It was hilarious. Like, I'm thinking about the scene laughing right now. He really said, "Ain't no way, ain't no how I'm making you my wife in this universe or the next."
I'm not gonna spin it like that.
Nobody spin it like anything.
I've been given such a negative response, a temper tantrum sometimes, like an attitude.
Right. I'm glad you feel that way. There's a lot I could respond to, but there is no scenario that I see myself standing there and saying yes to making you my wife forever. And with that in mind, and I'm glad we can at least agree that I don't ever want to see you again.
He really did kind of like eat her up. I can't lie. I know y'all probably ready to make him the villain, but I'm not making him the villain in this situation. I already told y'all that I think both of them had toxic ways. I'm still thinking about when he told her that. Why did he say it like that? He said it like so like, I want you to know I'm for sure about this. I've already said they weren't good for each other. In my eyes, this was an inevitable ending. Also, when y'all ready to fight him, remember that he didn't have to say that right now. He could have got all the way to the altar, said yes to her, and then, you know, decided he didn't want to be with her. Or he could have got all the way to the altar and said no to her, and y'all would have been like, he already knew. He should have told her from jump. So y'all gotta pick a side. Y'all want him to tell her before, y'all want him to tell him at the altar, or y'all want him to get married knowing he shouldn't have. He had 3 options in front of him, and the man took door number 1. It's crazy, because I was really sitting here thinking to myself, like, if these two just don't hang it up, call it a day, like, we're done here. Can't you tell? They were cooked. When he wanted to sit down and talk about the situation with his parents, she was over there making a full meal, getting ready to eat, and she was like, "Oh, you had wanted me to come sit by you? Like, you want me to physically be next to you? Oh, okay, I guess I could do that."
Let me know when you're ready to talk.
Because I've been eating all day.
Do you want to talk now, or?
You want me to sit over there?
I mean, I would rather talk to you intently, yes.
Y'all know that TikTok sound where Young Thug is talking about his record deal, and whoever the person is who's interviewing him just keeps saying, right, right, right.
Overly thinking.
Right.
Boy, I got a real plan.
Right.
When I signed my first deal, I signed the most fucked up deal in the world.
Right.
That's what Alex was doing.
My parents drove up here 10 hours to meet you, and as soon as the cameras cut, and the choice you made in that moment was to go to sleep.
Okay.
And to me, it is telling,
Okay.
because that's just not a choice that I would ever make.
Okay.
To me, that's a clear sign that she was, 1, not listening to a damn thing you say, and 2, didn't give a damn about what you were saying. They simply were a mismatch on communication, and they were both too stubborn to change. She did cut him off a lot, even in that moment, and just wanted to get her point across versus actually listening to him understand. She was just listening to give her rebuttal. And look, I would have felt the way too if somebody was just getting to know my parents and they were like, "Okay, I'm gonna dip out and go to sleep," tired or not. I don't know if she was trying to be rude on purpose, but that is rude. And look, she says she's just a person that gets tired easily. I get that. I am a perpetually tired person. I could get 8 to 10 hours, which I don't, but I could get that many hours and I could still wake up tired. I understand being perpetually tired, but you know what? When it's a moment and it's a time for me to show up, I show up and I just be tired. You do it tired. I don't understand. Unless she has narcolepsy, I'm not really seeing the issue here. Just stay up a little later, go to bed later. It'll be okay. You're gonna be tired tomorrow, but it'll be okay. They really do say that first impressions are everything, so I think she should have made her best first impressions. And I guess she said she was talking to them for 4 hours, but like I said, do it tired. And really, if we being honest, Drake had his mind made up in Mexico when they had that little altercation. We all knew it was over then. He had 1 foot out the door in that moment. I'm actually surprised that both of them showed up to the flapper mixer. They not a couple, so I don't really know why they were there. Like I said, they're both stubborn. So what is this now? 3 couples down? On a side note, love Tim's parents. Or Drake, or whatever that situation is. I really want to know the story behind why his name wasn't supposed to be Tim, because his mom sounded like she still felt a way about that.
No, we call him Drake, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
he told me that.
And when people say Tim, I always go, I'm thinking of him. When they say Tim, I'm like, what? Yeah, because that's Tim.
Yeah.
His name wasn't supposed to be Tim, but whatever. We're not gonna go there.
I'm gonna call him Drake. His mom is absolutely lovely though. I loved her hair. When it comes to Hannah and Nick, which one of us didn't see that coming? They were over here taking these damn family photo pictures looking more like brother and sister than fiance and fiance. It was literally like watching siblings take family photos together. And the whole time they talking about this height difference, which as we all know has been prevalent since the very second they met outside the pods. They were talking about this height difference. Oh, I'm taller than you. Oh, my wingspan. Oh, it's all been about the height. That's why I say Hannah knew from the very beginning that height was going to be an issue for her. I don't know why she didn't dip then. No doubt that was the first physical reason why Hannah was not attracted to him, is because of his height. And like I said, that's fair. I can understand a woman not wanting to be taller than her man, but she knew that from jump, and still, I guess she was trying to make herself feel like it was okay, even though she knows that that's kind of a deal breaker for her. And that's on top of the fact that the mere fact that Nick exists gave her the ick.
Your icks are starting to become just funny to me.
My icks?
Yeah,
Like, what was
okay.
one of my icks?
Just you like, you know, trying to get through it. And then I went through it like, you know.
Yeah, I
Like
I
with
did it wrong.
Grace.
Every little thing about that man gave her the ick, and that's because she didn't like him. And another thing I noticed was that she really had gotten in his head. He was like, yeah, recognize that I have some maturing to do, which, like, fair. Probably all of us has some growing up to do, some maturing to do. You might be in your 30s, but you still learning a lot. But really the whole time I'm sitting here like, okay, Nick has some maturing to do, but Hannah doesn't? Like I have been saying, it felt like her entire purpose was to break this man's self-esteem down so that he was so low and felt useless and felt like he couldn't go find somebody else. By the time Hannah was done with him, and maybe even now, she's probably broken him down so much now, he's gonna feel like he's not good enough for anybody. I think she still accomplished that goal, what I'm saying is goal, even not having married him. Even these short few weeks that they were together, she berated him and belittled him so much that she still might have had an impact on his self-esteem. And I really do feel that way. I feel like she was doing it on purpose. And if I'm being honest, I don't think that the things she was telling Nick to work on were inherently bad. I think some of the things are good. Okay, you should take initiative. You should want to do this. You should read more, this and that. Those are good things. You should always want to see your partner do better and improve in all those things. But her delivery feels vindictive or sneaky. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something is there. And if I'm gonna be real, it would have been a done deal for me the moment that I said I don't feel like you're equal and you said this.
I think you get treated like an equal when you start contributing like an equal.
Girl, what? Okay, bet. You never gonna see me again, because that's all you need to tell me. She was treating him like a project, like he was something to just complete for her. When she was talking to Ashley at the pod mixer, she was referencing Nick as if he was a project that needed fixing. And we all know that this man said he didn't want his business on the show as far as the sexual stuff. Yet and still, knowing her conversation was being recorded, sat at that mixer and basically, well, she did tell her, I just can't say it on YouTube, told Ashley, basically, look, he's not a munch. And then followed up with, but I'm gonna tread lightly because he's a man and I don't want to hurt his ego.
It's almost like it's like an 18-year-old sexualness. Like, things gross him out. Like, eating pussy is just, like, not what he thinks about. He doesn't like to eat pussy. What? You have to be very careful when you communicate sexual problems, because for a man, it can be humiliating.
What do you think you did by saying that not only to Ashley at the mixer, open, but on camera, knowing that production's definitely going to use that clip? Like, that's not something that's getting cut out. You don't want to hurt his ego. What are you doing right now? You just told everybody. And on the flip side, maybe he is a munch and he just don't want to do it for you. Now, he tells her before the mixer happens that he felt like he wanted to get closure from Katie. He was like, this is your warning. I will be conversing with her. And Hannah was like, okay, bet, and introduces them as soon as Katie walks in. And Katie basically ends up giving Nick a damn therapy session.
And I love and I'm proud of the person that you are. And I'm proud of the growth that you've already experienced.
I am a little confused as to why Hannah is saying Katie is her best friend in the whole world. Girl, you knew Katie for like 2 or 3 weeks, if that. That entire argument that Hannah and Nick had after the mixer seemed pointless to me. I don't know. Maybe y'all think Hannah had a point, but it was very much pointless to me.
That's totally fine. I'm happy with Hannah, and that's that.
Okay, that was just 3 seconds that you just explained, but why did you have a 40-minute conversation then?
She's a cool girl.
She's my best friend.
That's your best friend in the world. Why don't you go and ask her what happened? Sure enough, at this age.
Are you mature enough, Nick? Because I taught you fucking everything that you fucking know. I turned into a boy into a fucking man. I literally have done everything for you.
Into a boy
Literally
to a
everything
man.
for me. Well, you look really hot right now. I think I'm just ready for bed.
It felt very manipulative, again, true Hannah fashion, to pick a fight, get him all riled up and have him feeling like he has to defend himself, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed. Let's talk about it tomorrow. and then try to kiss him and move on. What are we doing? That's super manipulative to like get him hyped and then be like, okay, but I didn't mean it. I don't understand. I truly don't understand. It's like she's doing it to make it seem like she forgave him when there was nothing that he needed to be forgiven for. And then telling him he failed a test by talking to Katie. Maybe she has a bad edit. That's one thing she could say. Maybe she got a bad edit, but it just looks like every step of the way she was breaking him down intentionally. And considering that her brother said that's just kind of how she is, I don't think it's a bad edit. That's just kind of how she is. And I think a lot of the times on Love is Blind, women will tend to get a pass for being manipulative. But a lot of us who have watched season after season and spinoff after spinoff of this series, we can kind of pick up on it. You don't get a pass for being a manipulator just because you're a woman. If I think you're being manipulative, then I'm going to say you're being manipulative, and that's what I see in Hannah. I'm not saying that Nick is perfect, but Hannah's going out of her way to be imperfect. Even after they didn't go do the wedding dress and the tux fittings, and he was telling her, look, I feel like you're messing with my confidence. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy. Like, I feel like he basically said, I feel like you're breaking me down. She was like, well, I feel like that's just an ego thing.
And I feel like you extremely say that you're a confident person and I make you unconfident when I think it's just ego.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Okay, well, if Nick sees it, I see it, and everybody else see it, then what is it then, Hannah? And then have the nerve to say that she felt manipulated by him. Girl, where? Not in this edit. Did you tell him that you invaded his privacy to Ashley and the world because I'm sitting here talking about it? About his sex life that he specifically told you he didn't want to do? You actually did something wrong, but you had the nerve to pick a fight. Make it make sense. Inherently manipulative. Ooh. I wonder how long that crumb was on my face. And then had the nerve, I think when she was sitting with her friends, to say,
I'd never want to share anything that you don't ever feel comfortable sharing, but like you can share how you felt if you'd like.
You've already done that, girl. You already done it. When she was saying, I think she was talking to her mom, and she was saying, he doesn't line up with me financially. He doesn't line up with me humor-wise and maturity-wise. Then why are you still with him? If you know you are a mismatch on all of this stuff, then don't be here anymore. I'm happy that she finally made the decision to just tell him that. Just cut your losses. And again, I'm glad she did. Nick genuinely seemed hurt about it. Her, not so much. So that's 4 couples down. Leo and Britt, and I'm considering them a couple because they made it out the pods, even though they didn't go to Mexico. Steven and Monica, we know what happened between them. Tim and Alex, and now Hannah and Nick. Which means we have half of the couples left. I can't think of another Love is Blind season when so many couples have dropped out before the altar. Can y'all think of a season? Now look, we were having conversations about Steven and him being a sex addict and all these things, when really we should have been talking about Ramses being a sex addict. That entire interaction that he had with Marissa was bizarre.
The sexual stuff, it's like, I do understand like your concern there and I think they're valid, but it's also at the same time like, I'm clearly sick, have a severe vitamin D deficiency and the PMS. I don't want it to be something where you're like not satisfied because I am a sick person.
Starting at Cabo, it was great, and then like now, obviously we're dealing with a lot, and so like sometimes you just like don't want to be touched or you don't want to be, which is again fine. I just want to make sure that long term that it doesn't look like this.
It sounds like there was maybe a day or 2 or 3, I don't really care how many days it was, that she wasn't feeling well because of her period. And he was upset because she didn't want to have sex or didn't even really want to be touched. And now all of a sudden he's having doubts. Maybe my initial thoughts about Ramses were correct. Talking about it, oh, I just want to make sure that the physical intimacy is there with the person that I'm marrying. But you know it's there. She's just not feeling well. Like, is that okay? Or is she simply there for your sexual gratification? And really, we should have saw this coming last week when he said he didn't want to wear condoms. It was uncomfortable for him. But she's telling him that she's uncomfortable because of her period. And oh no, you still have to want to have sex with me. It's a little degrading and misogynistic. Very gross. Very red pill adjacent. Very red flag adjacent. We've talked about this season. Some women, just because of how their hormones are set up and their reproductive system is set up, only get 1 good week out of the month. You have to be ready and able and willing to deal with that if you're going to marry someone. It doesn't sound like hers is that severe, but it sounds like she was having a bad time. And instead of being supportive, he was like, but when are we going to have sex? When are we going to have sex? It's like, do I get an off day or am I just cattle here? Because if you want a sex doll, you can buy one of those. Outside of sex, they were just talking about overall general affection. And look, maybe Ramses needs more physical touch than she does. And they are just a mismatch on that. That doesn't mean that they can't come to a compromise on that. But it is a conversation that needs to be had early on so that they can figure out how to navigate it. Because to me, it sounds like Marissa was touched out. I never knew what being touched out was until I started following like a lot of moms on Instagram. And they described a feeling of being touched out, especially after just having a baby, especially if it's their first baby. Your body isn't yours for 9 months. You have the baby. Now the baby's attached to you, especially if you're breastfeeding. The baby's literally attached to you, or just only wants mom, or only wants to be around mom, or swaddled on you, or something like that. Then they start crawling and they're always on you. Then they start walking and they're always on you. Can't even take a shower alone because the kid is always on you. So they describe this feeling of being touched out as just too many hands all the time. Your body isn't yours. You don't feel like you've gotten your body back. I realized that I may not have been as clear about why I'm trying to connect the dots here. Postpartum and PMS are obviously not the same thing, not the same type of hormonal changes, but all of those hormonal changes are connected to the reproductive system, because if you don't get a period, then you're going to end up having a baby, and if you don't get pregnant, then you're going to end up having a period. So it's fair to say that a lot of those same feelings, maybe on a way smaller scale, can still come up when you have PMS. Feeling touched out, or just feeling moody in general, or cravings. All of these things are connected to each other. Marissa described what Ramses does as petting her. So in my mind, I was like instantly like, oh, she feels touched out. He's too touchy. Again, your love languages are your love languages. And if one of Ramses' love languages is physical touch, that's not his fault. But he can't put it so much on her. They have to meet in the middle on it. And Marissa said she'd be willing to be unhappy for 5 to 7 years. Ramses thought that was a bit much. People always talk about the 7-year itch and all these things. So it's probably an accurate amount of time. I also didn't like how Ramses was lingering around her and Bowden when they were talking at the mixer. You got the girl. You won. We get it. Let her have her little closure with Bowden. She didn't seem like she was too interested in him anyway. It also seems like they had an off-cam conversation. And from what I gathered, maybe Marissa was talking about wanting to move up her timeline for having kids. I don't know. They really seemed like they didn't want to talk about that on camera, so who knows what happened.
Last night, it felt like things were like shifted.
Like what specifically?
You were like now switching from like the 3 to 5 that we'd spoken about to like sooner. I was just kind of like, is there anything else, that's gonna
I mean, imagine things will change over time.
Let me know what y'all think that conversation was, because to me, that's what it sounded like. Now we're left off on a situation where Ramses is getting outside influence from friends, maybe family, and that's kind of swaying which direction he thinks he wants to go at the altar. But if I'm going to be real, all of these conversations that they had in these 2 episodes should have been enough to sway both of them. I do think it was kind of funny how Marissa was on him about giving her mom flowers on the wedding day because he didn't bring her mom flowers when he first met her. Girl, did you see how your mom was talking to him and about him? She don't deserve no damn flowers. You better get like Miley Cyrus. I can buy myself flowers. I love Miley. I've always loved Miley. I didn't like her at all as Hannah Montana, but as soon as she was Miley, I was like, right here, girl. Now, when it comes to Tyler and Ashley, I really don't even know what to tell y'all. It does sound like Tyler gave her a version of the full story in these episodes that we just watched. But when she asked him if the kids knew what he looked like, he said no.
I had a very close friend. Her and her wife wanted to have a baby, and they couldn't afford sperm donor. I thought that was God telling me, help someone else.
Do the kids know what you look like?
I don't think so.
Why lie about that? That's a blatant lie. You sitting over here in pictures with the kids, at least the son. The son was about 6 or 7 years old in that Christmas picture. You were holding him. How he don't know what you look like? Like, at that point, just come clean and tell her how involved you are. Maybe they wanted to have a lot of these conversations off cam, like I said. I don't know. And it was kind of sad to see Ashley try to process all of that and say, okay, well, maybe in 5 years we can start incorporating them more into our life so that they can have you there as a father, when he was already being there. So why didn't he just say that? He's sitting there shaking his head. Meanwhile, he got whole Christmas matching pajamas, wearing the best dad ever shirt, and hanging out with them, fully immersed in their lives. Now, someone did leave a comment on one of my other videos saying that on Instagram, Ashley was saying the meeting with her dad happened after Tyler told her about the kids, even though on the show it's being presented that he met her dad first and then told her. So, we know that they can do a little bit of movie magic, reality show magic, and put things out of order in order to present a different story or a certain narrative. So, yeah, I believe that could have happened. But he's still lying even on the show. Like I just said, he lied about the kids not knowing what he looked like. So I really do hope they went deeper on the show off cam or whenever. I hope that he told her the full story before it started coming out in the fashion that it is coming out, with all these pictures and his ex-fiance, and his ex-fiance didn't know that he was being a donor and all this stuff. I just hope he told her. I hope she knows that she was solid in her decision and that he did not lie to her, because she was fully in for him. I felt like he was fully in for her, and it just started to unravel when all this stuff came out. I love that Ashley got her skydiving wish, because she was even talking about that in the pods as something that she wanted to do before she got married. So I'm just fingers crossed that Tyler stopped lying so that she won't have to do it again with somebody else. On a side note, Ashley's mom is gorgeous. gorgeous. She looks just like Ashley. She was saying she trusts Tyler, which of course we know is a separate topic, but absolutely beautiful woman. And meanwhile, Garrett and Taylor done forgot they even own Love is Blind. They over here doing real couple stuff, like planning a wedding. They do have their first real drama. Apparently Garrett got this text message from an ex. Don't know if it was a pod ex or an actual IRL ex. And he lies to her about his response. Again, don't know why. He told her that he liked it but didn't actually respond. Come to find out, when he was recounting the story to Ashley and Tyler, he was like, well, I responded this. And then he realizes that Taylor is sitting right there and he tries to walk it back. Terrible mistake. More than the act, the lie is going to be a problem, because she's going to feel like, if you would lie about that, what else would you lie about? And it actually showed her that you're capable of lying straight to her face and then changing your story in front of somebody else an hour later. In his defense, I do think that he said he didn't respond because he didn't want her to think that something sneaky was going on. And like she said, she doesn't want to be the type that has to look through somebody's phone. Nobody wants to have to look through somebody's phone. He maybe didn't want her to feel uneasy or feel like she had to worry about the other woman, but he ends up doing the complete opposite.
But you're saying like there's a difference between just liking it and actually responding with words. Like I didn't think there was a difference there. This is a semantics thing.
It's not semantics. They're two different things. In one scenario, you responded. In the other scenario, you didn't respond. I almost said it's not rocket science, but he's a physicist, so he might even understand that. You know that there's a difference. Maybe he just book smart, not street smart. Nevertheless, I still think they are the most solid couple this season. They will work through this. Garrett just needs not be dumb anymore. I don't really pay too much attention to when they're going wedding dress shopping or tux shopping, because I want to see the dress when, you know, they walk down the aisle. That's when I can see it. But Taylor's dress was gorgeous. Loved her dress. I think it really was perfect on her. I don't usually like simple wedding dresses like that, but hers was so classy. I just thought it was great. I loved it. Of the couples left, which is really half of who we started with, I don't think Ramses and Marissa will get married. At this point, I don't even know if they're going to make it to the altar, but if they do, Ramses is going to say no. Marissa may have said yes, depending on who goes first. Ashley and Tyler, I'm pretty sure they got married because she's not online letting him have it. So to me, that seems like that's her man, that's her man, that's her man. So I'm going to say they got married, and that's kind of like pretty obvious in what's happening. Like I said, unless she's finding out all this stuff as the show unfolds, I think they got married. And of course, Taylor and Garrett are getting married. Next week, I'm going to have an update for y'all on our reunion watch party, because it sounds like Netflix may have changed some of their permissions and I might not be able to stream it. But where there is a will, there is a way. So I'm going to do my best to make it happen, but I'll give you an update next week. I just need to test a few things. If not, and we can't watch it together because Netflix doesn't want to let us be great, then I'll just record a regular video. But I would really love to do a watch party. So I'm going to look into it and have it figured all out by the wedding review commentary next week. And teleparty didn't work for us, so I can't even trust that as backup. That's it for this one. I'm gonna go finish my Popeyes, and I will see y'all next week. Bye. A few of y'all gave me compliments when I had my hair like this last time. I don't usually have my hair like this. I just am too lazy to wash it, and I had it in a braid out, and it was starting to do what, you know, type 4 hair does, and I was like, girl, I gotta stretch you out. So that's why it's like this. Usually 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna see it like this. I love it like this. The way my ends are set up, if I want to keep my length, I can't have my hair like this all the time. This is a rarity. For real, for real, for real. And it's freeze. I'm genuinely sitting here laughing at that shit. That was so funny. I never want to see you again. Like, why he say it like that? Ooh. No, I'm going to insert that meme, and then I'm going to insert her. My Popeyes is here. Hey, let's go get Popeyes. I'm very excited for the Popeyes. Be laughing at my Popeyes song, y'all. Got the goods. I got the goods. I'm very excited. Well, I'm going to I'm not gonna lie. They changed the recipe on the biscuit. It's not as dry as it used to be. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Yeah, that hit. That's what I needed. Sometimes you just need it. It just hit. Y'all dip y'all biscuit in the beans and rice? I do. Not the mukbang. Not the bangs. I am a little confused. That's why I don't eat in the middle. That's why I don't eat in the middle of videos. I hope my shirt is not. Oh no, because my chair is green, so I'm not like blending in with the background. But I might be a little bit. Could you love her?